I actually own a Magic the Gathering TM throw. Kind of cool. In today's video, I want to draw some attention to a really interesting tweet from Magic Data Science, an account that I am enjoying on Twitter at the moment. They pointed out that 2022 was a prolific year for Wizards of the Coast and Magic in general. They pointed out that 10,498 card variations have been printed, which accounts for 14.7% of all cards in Magic's history. It's 425 new commanders were debuted, that's 25% of the total in existence, and 1.16 per day. So for every day of the year, more than one legendary was produced in the last year. And then approximately 18% of all words in all rules text of all cards ever printed in 2022. Let's unpack some of that and just talk about my general feelings and sentiment when I read these sort of things. This isn't a new argument. All that and more in today's video. Don't forget, if you're looking to pick up sealed product or singles, use the link to Cool Stuff Inc. in the description below. 5% off your first order by using the link or the code KENOBI at checkout to help support the show. In a recent fireside chat with investors, Chris Cox and a few other head honchos at Wizards of the Coast explained that they were not overprinting Magic cards. There's no indication or evidence that they were doing so. And this is off the back of a discussion that sprung up from the Bank of America downgrading Wizards and Hasbro and Magic the Gathering in general as a investment stock option. They said that the game was being mismanaged, it was being overprinted. Overprinting as a term refers to kind of two things at the same time. Primarily, it is referring to the overprinting of cards in the sense that we have so many versions of a card that the cards are no longer worth money. And on the other hand, the other one which is more colloquially used by the community is that there's just so much product coming out. Which isn't really what overprinting means, but I see the conversation getting mixed up quite a bit. And what that's led to is that people will focus on the first part, right? Like the Bank of America claiming that, and then Wizards saying there's no evidence of it, and then they're moving on very quickly. And what that does is it takes all the attention away from the second part. That Wizards of the Coast may not be overprinting each card into oblivion. There are still cards worth money, for example, if we're looking at the game as an investment portfolio. But the fact that there are just so many fucking products coming out all the time. These stats here, that 14.7% of all Magic cards were printed last year. Now, bearing in mind that's because every card has like multiple variants now. So this is more from a collector's standpoint, but it does feel like noise. I said in the recent preview video for All Is One where Elish Norn has, is it 7 or 8 variants? It just feels like hard work to understand it, and it makes me not want to care. And the interesting point about that is that you don't have to care. That's always the counter argument to this stuff, right? You don't have to really be invested or know about these alternate variants. It actually affects the gameplay itself minimally, in the sense of variants at least, and alternate frames. But ultimately, I don't want to look at my hobby, the thing I'm a super fan about, the thing I am covered in a blanket right now that is of the fucking brand, that I make content about every day of my life. I don't want to look at it and be like, fucking hell, can I be bothered? 25% of the total legendary creatures ever printed were printed in 2022. I mean, part of that is the draw towards Commander and the wanting to provide more for Commander, the Commandification of Magic, if you will. But that's still an insane number. Like, are we at the peak of this? Are we at the top of the mountain? I know Blake Rasmussen said recently on a stream that they might be slowing down with product releases next year. And also, it feels worse at the end of this year because we had some COVID delays and similar, and production line delays that led to Infinity and Warhammer coming out on the same fucking day, and then a product coming out like a week later, and then another product coming out another week later, and it just feels exaggerated, pushed this end of year. But this isn't a new phenomenon. People have been joking and complaining and feeling burnt out by the perpetual hype and the constant spoiler seasons and the deluge of releases for several years now. And whilst I said like the frame treatments and stuff don't change the game, that's just like one element of all this, it's part of the issue. The constant printing of new legends every single set means that I don't know what any of them do anymore. I'm an incredibly entrenched player, and to be able to understand what's going on with all the cards is impossible. And perhaps that's something I've talked about before, where we have to step away and detach ourselves from our previous engagement with Magic, where you could see every card from every set and feel like you can have an encyclopedic knowledge of Magic, because the game is just so vast and complicated now with so many different moving pieces, more cards printed now than ever before. And that's a valid point, I think, is that we all have to reassess how we deal with Magic, how we engage with Magic as a game and as an intellectual property and as a hobby. But there's still some downside to all of that. To get your enfranchised players and ask them to like engage less, to be less caring about the product is an interesting one. It's a sad one in many ways. I do often feel more burnt out with Magic than I ever have done before. I still love the game and I still want to make content about it and I still enjoy playing it on stream and for gameplay videos that no fucker watches. But I still feel like the game isn't as special as it once was. I don't think that Kaldheim or any of the sets that have come out in the last year or two were particularly badly written or conceptualized or made. And that's the point that I really want to labour, is that I think there are people at Wizards doing incredible work when it comes to art direction, conceptual work, design, both mechanically and thematically, flavour stuff. I think it's all pretty good. It's great in some places. I mean, as an example, the Warhammer 40,000 decks that came out, where they had a hell of a lot of new art and styles, so part of the problems that we're talking about, it was beautiful, it was wonderful. It was so well designed, it felt so on point for the setting. It was a fucking triumph. But I don't think these products are bad, in a sense that the worlds are bad, or the writing is bad, or the story is bad. The reason I can't remember what happened on Kaldheim, or what any of the gods' names are, or what they do, is because we spent no time there. Part of that is the one block structure. We went from 3 blocks to 2 blocks to 1 blocks and never really went back from there. We've seen a little bit of it here and there, but I do really think having 2 blocks allows for a better story arc and more time for our world to breathe and develop and to understand it. It might actually be okay as we're moving forward, as we're doing like episodic parts of the story as Phyrexia gears up and the big multi-dimensional war happens. That might be good for the single block structure, but for Kaldheim and Throne of Eldraine and what else has even come out recently? Even the return stuff. Kamigawa, for example, was overwhelmingly popular and I really enjoyed it, but I feel like I was there for 5 fucking seconds. So we don't have enough time for it to breathe and for us to associate with the cards, to grow attached to them, to even try them. Sometimes I'm going to try and make content. I'm a content creator where it's my job around these cards and we're already on to the next thing. The news cycle just takes us up as well. So it's not just the release of the core sets, but like, why focus on X when Y is right in front of you? They're releasing cinematic trailers and pre-release stuff and paying or not paying content creators to put it in your face, and they do that with me too, and I'm just like, fuck, there's no room to breathe, not only for the players but for the product and the worlds and the stuff they're making. It's creative overload in some ways. I really hope the teams have grown. I really hope the teams inside Wizards have grown to accommodate so much product being made. Otherwise, those people are being stretched thin and asked to do more, and probably not for more money. That's just conjecture though, and just a thought that came to me as I was talking about this. But nothing is special if we only spend 5 minutes there. There's a song, I don't know if you have it in America, it's called I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. And as a kid, I always thought, that's wild. When would I wrap my presents? When would I go Christmas shopping? When would mum go and buy the turkey? Christmas every day doesn't work. And when it's release every day, when it's a new product every day, and every day is an exaggeration. We do actually have almost a 30-day window at this point in time, since the first look at New Phyrexia and the previews begin. But 30 days being our longest period of rest over Christmas is kind of dumb. It can't be Christmas every day. And it can't be a special and engaging and interesting release period every day. It just doesn't fucking work. I can't be the only one who feels the overload. I really can't. And I do wonder if the vast majority of casual players don't give a shit because they only casually engage when they happen to be in the game store. So it's only the terminally online and the super engaged that feel this way. But surely that's still an indication that there's a bit too much shit coming out. I don't know. Just a little rant video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I've been Vince, this person can be on the internet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. And don't forget to subscribe as well. Half you fuckers haven't subscribed for some reason.